Good evening, people on streaming. Apologies for the second start. This is the second time it's done this. When I turn the radio on, the RF somehow starts the streaming. I'll have to watch that tomorrow. But we are, in fact, about to start the net. And I'm not sure why I've just been keying the microphone, which I did. It's a habit when I start. I just pick up the microphone. Anyway, I'll get the brain in gear shortly. We've been a little bit concerned about some boats, but everyone seems to be well. A very good evening, everybody. I am now on streaming and the radio. This is ZMH 286, Patricia and David on Gulf Harbour Radio. And we have had a very stormy day. Nothing to compare with those folk that have battled them to get into Minerva, but it has been a pretty stormy day here. Again, just a lot of rain and wind backed from the northwest through west. When it was west, it was about 20-25 knots, but it's now southwest, and the rain has, I say it's stopped, but I think it's just starting up again, and it's just not very pleasant here. But we've certainly been thinking of those folk that have been dealing with this at sea. Just a little bit of news of interest to mariners before we start checking in. For those of you who are from this particular area around Gulf Harbour, there has been a fast track application for another marina right outside the entrance to Gulf Harbour Marina. It's going to be a 300 berth marina right beside Fairway Bay. So it's actually going to be quite chaotic getting into both marinas because they're at right angles to the other, and each is right there, right on top of each other. It's in front of the new housing development where the Country Club Golf Club used to be. Already 9 holes of that have been carved up by Harbour Developments for the housing. And this proposed new marina will go straight in front of it after they build the breakwater, which shouldn't be too difficult a job because it's reasonably shallow there. But boy, it is going to be chaotic for coming in and out. It'll be quite dangerous. Going to the other side of the world, there has been another whale problem in the Strait of Gibraltar. An orca attacked a 15-metre boat with 2 people on board. In Moroccan waters, it knocked into the boat several times. They always seem to go for the rudder, and they say it's because it's moving. Anyway, it caused a leak. The boat sank. They were rescued by the Spanish Maritime Rescue Service. But a warning has been issued, evidently from May through August in the Strait of Gibraltar and the Gulf of Cadiz. There is this whale, the orca problem. Going on to New Caledonia, things are not getting better. There are now 4 dead with the riots, including a police officer who was shot in the forehead at point blank range. There is a state of emergency. It's into its 2nd day now, and it will last for 2 weeks. International flights are still grounded. Paris has sent an additional 1,200 police. There's just a lot of problems. There is a meeting in Paris proposed for the end of May between the parties, but meantime stores and vehicles have been looted and burned. A lot of vehicles actually, and stores, so it is not a good place to be. But the boat we have been talking to, Second Son, is on their way to Vanuatu now. Okay, that's about what I've got news-wise, and I'm hoping that propagation will be back to normal now. There's still a bit of problems with the solar flare in some sensitive areas using equipment like GPS, mainly in North America, but everything seems to be okay here. Now I know Mackay is in Minerva along with a lot of other people, about 20 people in 20 boats in North Minerva, but I have a message for you, Barry. Mackay, Gulf Harbour. Yeah, hi Barry. I just had a call this morning. Actually, I left the note in the other room, but I think you'll know who I'm talking about. David on a new sailor on Sashula, is it? Anyway, he's now still on the hard. The message to you was he's still on the hard, waiting for his new engine. He was anxious to know where you were. I updated him on that. So he's still anticipating maybe getting away to Tonga this year. Over.
Okay, Roger. Thank you very much for that, Patricia. I'll see if I've got an email contact for him and try to shoot him a note. But yeah, he's a good guy trying to get ready to go. Over.
Yeah, roger that. And whilst you're on air, I wouldn't mind a favour. It would be really, really nice if you or somebody on the VHF contacted a boat called Just Imagine. Now, it may be that they have got into Minerva, but it is also possible that they're waiting outside. It's a bit hard to tell from the position on the AIS. They have had some pretty grim weather, as you can imagine, but I would like to know that, well, it would be good to make contact with them. They don't have an SSB, and they actually contacted me, God knows how, with their cell phone. But if you, after the net, could make contact and just find out whether they are in Minerva or outside, and maybe they would like some information about the up-to-date weather, which you will have better than us because you're there. And if they are outside, they'll be coming in at first light tomorrow. Barry, over.
Yeah, okay, Roger, on that, Patricia, but I'm not at Minerva. I hove to last night. It had 30 knots of headwind, so I just went in and parked the boat. I was about ready to get back underway, so I'm about 80 miles or so from it.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, I'll get your position then, because I had just made the assumption. I didn't. There's so many boats there. Actually, come to think of it, I do not see you there. So now that my brain is in action, go ahead with your position. Over.
Yeah, okay, Roger. I'll go ahead and give you the full thing. My position is 25 degrees, 10 minutes south, 178 degrees, 44 minutes west. I'm on a course over ground of hove 2 at 160 degrees true, doing about 1.5 knots or so, just drifting along. The wind is now currently 17 knots from the east-northeast, and sea condition, I'm seeing about 2 meters out of the east. The sky 100% overcast, even had some rain a little while ago, and my barometer is saying 1020. It's down quite a bit, but I will be getting underway here after net, so should be making Minerva by tomorrow midday sometime. Over.
Oh, good show, and sounds like you sound quite bright. I guess you're getting some sleep. So Mackay is currently hove 2, but getting underway shortly to get to Minerva, 2510 south, 17844 west. Just hove 2 and roughly pointing 160 true at 1.5 knots with 17, that's 17 knots east northeast. Well, that's an improvement, isn't it? 2 metre easterly swell, 100% cloud cover, bit of rain on and off, and the bar down to 1020. I'm just going to switch the microphone. Barry.
Yeah, hello, Barry, from the other half here. Well, you're doing pretty good. You're on the very western edge of this mess that is slowly, very, very slowly moving east. By the time you get to Minerva tomorrow, I'm looking at about lunchtime. I think the winds will change to become easterlies, probably about 20 knots, maybe 18 to 20. It'd be higher in squalls if there are some big buildups. But no, you're doing fine. You're just really almost on the western edge of the axis of this major trough that's running sort of north-south. So yeah, you should be good. Over.
Roger, thank you very much for that, dude. Yeah, last night I took a look at the models. I kind of made the decision just to stop. I was dead tired. The dinghy up on the floor deck was starting to work its way loose because everything was getting just pounded so bad. And after looking at the models, I said, you know what? It's time to stop and get some sleep. And I'll come in, the next day, and it's looked like it has worked out beautifully. Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a good decision. And I'm looking at satellite imagery when it gets down to the wire like this. I'm the big believer in what I see on real-time satellite. And the big bad stuff is fairly east of the dateline. I say fairly. I'm talking about maybe a degree or so. Um, yeah, right up in the Minerva area, there's a absolutely humongous thunderstorm cluster that's north of Minerva, and it's showing up on the infrared on satellite imagery. The temperature in the middle of this cluster is minus 72 degrees centigrade. So it is a monster thunderstorm. Fortunately, it does not look like it's moving south toward the Minerva area. It looks like it's developed actually in the last 2 hours. I can go back 12 hours and I could watch the area develop. And from what I could see, it's just popped up about 2 hours ago. And from nothing to this huge thing. And it will it is starting to move east just a little bit, quite fortunately. So, for those in Minerva that are listening, they might be interested in that. All right, Barry, good luck, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, Roger, David, thank you very much, and let's hope that thing doesn't get a twist to it. I'm safe to you. Thank you, and we'll report in tomorrow.
Okay, I'm just looking at the streaming, and it looks like there's a lot of what we call short skip, because Rusilla has reported that they're receiving us on the radio in Marsden, which is quite unusual. So we'll talk to you shortly. And believe it or not, there is a longer skip, because Darren is reporting that I'm getting into Brisbane and South Australia. And the boats from Australia are well on their way to New Caledonia now. I'm wondering if Indigo can copy. I'll give you a call later. Okay, while we're on Minerva, was there anybody there that could volunteer, please? It would just be nice if somebody could call Just Imagine on the VHF. Could anybody do that for me, please? Over. Yeah, hi, Cara. That would be great if you could just give them a call and just tell them pretty much what David has said, but also just to be a voice that would be a welcome relief for them. You'll probably talk to Fleur on the boat. Just Imagine. Over. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. And great that you were in touch with them, because they sounded a bit as if they would like some human contact this morning when we updated them on weather. That's great. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to Falado, Gulf Harbour Radio. Oh, a new voice. Hello, Jen. Go ahead.
One of the things from us been racing into the wind and the swell all night and day. Currently we are 27 degrees 38 minutes south, 179 degrees 02 minutes west. We are travelling between 3 and 4 knots on a heading of 048 true. The wind is about 18 knots, direction of 058 true, swinging around a bit. We've got 100% cloud cover. The sea we said was a confused chop with 3-metre swells. Over.
Oh, I can see why you're eagerly awaiting something from the southeast. Okay, Falado, 2738 south, 17902 west, on a course of 048 true, 3 to 4 knots. The wind is swinging a little bit from around the 058, we'll call it northeast. 18 knots, 100% cloud cover, and those horrible, confused, choppy 3-meter seas. So, yeah, but you're still plugging on, so well done. Over.
Yeah, that's it, yeah, floating on. I'm hoping for some southerly, but we can't see much sign of it on the model. Over.
Yeah, David's just dusting off his crystal ball here. Have you any idea of when they're going to get some decent direction winds? Here he is.
No, unfortunately, this trough is sticking with us for a while. It's meandering slightly to the east, but then there is another band that's emanating from the depression that is over New Zealand, moving eastward. So, in other words, by Saturday, I'm looking at Saturday the 18th, that depression is going to be fairly well east of the South Island. However, it's pushing up a trough that is running, I would call it 30 south and the date line. And if you put a little dot there and the other dot on Vanuatu, that's the axis of this trough. So you'll be above that as you're heading, I assume, to Minerva. But unfortunately, the winds are all trying to get into that low pressure area of this other trough, and therefore they look like they're going to still be northeast by Saturday. So I'm afraid not much relief for you in terms of wind direction. I assume you're going to Minerva. The winds by Saturday, by the way, are going to be fairly slack at about, well, I'm looking at 27 south, probably about 10 knots, believe it or not, out of the northeast. This is a mean wind.
Going north of there.
And then further north, 25, which is not far from Minerva, about 10 knots out of the east. And then up at Minerva itself, it'll be still, looks like a toss between east and northeast, but about 10 knots. Mean wind now. There's still a bit of cumulonimbus around, and if in fact they happen to be over you, then you're looking at squalls at 30 knots and more, as I'm sure you already know. But the smaller clouds, even if they drop rain, they still can deliver winds of 25 and more. But anyway, from what I can see in terms of that happening, I'm looking now at the projected precipitation just here and there as you head toward Minerva. So in other words, there's some clear areas, then there's areas where we have broken bands of cloud, very short bands of cloud that will annoy you. So you'll just have to grin and bear it, I'm afraid. Yeah, there's not much else you can do. Some of the boats that have gone west of the date line are picking up southerlies, but that's going to stop in another day. So in other words, if you were, say, 178 east, that type of thing, you probably would have southerly quadrant winds, but you're not there. You're on the other side. So anyway, if you have any questions, come now. If you want to give us a note on an email, feel free to do that too. But otherwise, that's what we're looking at for the next couple of days. Slow going for you and headwinds, but at times slack winds, other times not so slack. Could be fresh, could be more. So it's all over the place. Over.
We can see in front of us as well, so we'll just keep floating on. Thank you.
Well, hopefully there's plenty of food on board, and I'm sure you can enjoy each other's company. Just talking about Minerva, I've taken a couple of screenshots because it is quite a spectacular picture of of all the little purple boats with their names beside them. But I don't see Whistler X and Masterplan, and I think others have switched off their AIS. But if you want to put your AIS on tomorrow, I will do the same thing, and then if anybody wants a picture for their records, it does look quite fun actually, stretching from Ballina in the southeast of it and up to at the moment Indy in the north. So it's quite spectacular, but it would be even better if you all had your AIS on. Okay, we'll clear with Falado and go to Artemis Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, this is Ingrid on Artemis. Do you copy?
Yeah, good copy, Ingrid. Go ahead.
At the moment, our position is 27 degrees, 19 minutes south, 178 degrees and 37 minutes east. We've just entered a bit of a confused sea state. Our speed over ground is about 3 knots, it's just started motor sailing. We've got about 8 knots of wind coming mostly from the east, but it's all over the place. We've got a very confused 2-3 metre swell, also mostly coming from the east, but all over the place as well. We've got about 3% cloud cover, and yeah, things have entered a bit of a lull. Could you guys give us a bit of an indication of what we're to expect the next few days?
Yeah, pretty much what David's just been talking about, but hang on, I will put it back to him. 2719 south, 17837 east. They're motoring at 3 knots at the moment. The wind is only 8 knots from the east, but all over the place, a bit like the seas, which are very confused, mostly from the east, but again all over. A 2 metre swell and only 30% cloud cover. So yeah, you're further west from Falado. I'm going to pass the microphone, but boy, I'm looking over his shoulder, and I'd be interested to know what he's going to tell you for the next few days.
Actually, between now and tomorrow, I'm looking at lunchtime tomorrow, the winds, believe it or not, being west of the dateline, looks like southeast, with a mean wind of about 15 to 17. Iron gusts, I think you know the rule. I usually give plus or minus 5 knots on a mean wind and 40 to 50% in the gust, but mean wind looks like 15 to 17 southeast. So if you stay on the west side of the dateline, at least through tomorrow lunch, you're going to have very reasonable wind directions. Then looking toward midnight, tomorrow, as you continue north, that southeast wind's probably going to come out of the east. And then looking at Saturday, then it won't matter whether you're on the east side or the west side of the dateline. The winds on either side are going to be east-northeast. But it does look fairly slack on Saturday. So while the wind isn't in a great direction, at least it's not blowing as hard as it has been the last few days. That's what I see between now and Saturday. Over.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that information. Yeah, we had a wonderful day sailing today, till about an hour ago. So hopefully those sailings may come back. So yeah, copy that. Stay with one for now, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yep, sounds much more positive where you guys are. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, Ingrid. Okay, going to Second Sun on their way to Vanuatu. Andy, are you on frequency? Second Sun, Gulf Harbour. Okay, nothing heard there. They're the boat that has diverted from New Caledonia to go to Vanuatu. Okay, Cape Providence, Gulf Harbour Radio. Oh, there he is, probably up top side, reeling in a fish or something. Were you over?
Negative, just trying to pack food back in the fridge. I'm making dinner.
Oh, good that you're a multitasking person. Go ahead, Andy.
Roger that. So, yes, we are en route to Vanuatu. We've contacted customs and have made arrangements for clearing course, whatever they're heading to for resolution. Our current position is 26 degrees, 12 south, 171325 east. We are making 5.5 knots on a course of 230. Our wind is about 20, and it is astern. The seas are picking up a bit. They're about 2 meters from the southeast, I would say. That's going to have a bit of a roll. The bar is 1017.2. Cloud cover is about 80%. Appears to be clearing.
Yeah, I just missed the wind direction. Was that 20 from the east, over?
I would say from the southeast.
Okay, southeast. Alrighty, we have second sun heading to port resolution 2612 south, 17125 east on a course of 230 true, 5.5 knots. 20 knots of southeast wind, so pretty hard on it.
Same thing tomorrow.
Same thing tomorrow, says David. Seas southeast and 1017.2 and 80%, but clearing skies. So that'll keep you going for another 24 hours, over.
Roger that. Should we expect a little easing in the wind in the next day?
What about easing of the wind? Is it going to ease a bit?
I'm looking at lunchtime tomorrow, and I see almost exactly what you're getting today. I'll take a look at tomorrow night and into Saturday. Just a minute. I think it's going to, through Friday, I'll put it a different way, through Friday about the same that you're getting now. However, into Saturday, it does start to slack off considerably. I would say probably about, we'll call it 15 knots, maybe 12 to 15, still out of the southeast. So that's a pretty good direction. Now, there is a trough that is going to run by Saturday lunch, that's going to run from Vanuatu to the southeast. In other words, you're going to sail into it. And so the winds are probably going to be a little bit higher in the gusts, and you could expect some precipitation out of it. And this is Saturday the 18th. Over.
Roger that. So we'll look for a potential call sign on Saturday, but we'll hear more about that tomorrow. And sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, and yeah, you guys on board better start running up and down those steps to the cockpit to get fit for going up the mountain. Okay, clear with second sun. I'm not sure that intrinsic will be on frequency because they'll be finding their sea legs. Intrinsic, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard there. And what about, let me see, Indigo, Gulf Harbour. And I wouldn't mind a report from Minerva. David is anxious to get the current conditions, the wind and cloud position. I know Taurus is on frequency, but I do struggle with Kara's signal. So is there somebody else in North Minerva that could give me a weather report, please? Over. I was just looking at you in the middle of the bunch there, Phil. Mintaka, go ahead.
It's been an interesting day. We opened this morning with breeze sort of around the 30s, and it's veered between 25 and 35 all day from the northeast, sorry. And it seems to be abating for a period and then comes in again, pretty much at 100% cloud cover all day. But really comfortable here in Anchor.
Not much rain.
And what about the rain? Has there been much rain?
There has been some rain, but probably not as much as has been forecast. So It's come and gone, but just in showers, and only one of the leaves particularly heavy.
Did you hear that last bit?
I didn't get
Okay,
to-
well, thank you very much. We just missed that last statement that you made. What was that?
The rain hasn't been particularly heavy, has it?
Oh, roger that. Yep, not particularly heavy. Yeah, you should have been here. It was heavy here. I'll just pass the microphone. Is there any comment?
Well, yeah, the models, from what I can see, have not been calling off a huge amount of rain for Minerva. The satellite imagery is confirming that. But just to the north of Minerva, I think you heard what I had to say before, just about 2 degrees to the north, maybe a degree and a half. So we're looking at 90 miles, 100 miles, nautical miles. There is a huge cluster, and that temperature in that cluster, to tell you how high it is minus 72 degrees C. And there's rain in that, like lots of rain, but I don't see it moving down on top of Minerva. It's probably too dark to look to the north to see this. It might be too far away too, but if earlier when there was enough light, I'm not sure if you gazed in that direction to see what it looked like. Over.
Dave, you can't see ahead of us now. It's, the sun has left us, so you can't see very far at all, to be honest.
Yeah, roger that. I meant earlier when you could see. Were you seeing build-ups to the north? Over.
Yes, we were seeing cumulus, high cumulus thick clouds to the north earlier in the day. Yeah, just before sunset, over.
Roger that, and that's the one I'm talking about. So let's just hope that the monster continues to drift a little to the east. I have a 12-hour basically run on the imagery, and it's just slightly moving. It's just it built up in 2 hours. It's quite amazing watching it build up to the size that it is now. And in the process of building up, it is moving slightly in an eastward direction, which is good news. I was praying that it was not going to head south, and it doesn't look like it is. And it could very well disappear in a couple of hours. Sometimes they're not very long lasting at all, so we'll hope that's the case either way. All right, well, thank you for the report. I appreciate that. And I don't know if Patricia has any other word on the boat outside the pass.
I want to talk to Taurus.
Hold on.
Yeah, I want to touch base with Taurus again. Taurus, Kara, did you manage to make contact? Over? Oh dear. Mintaka, could you give me a relay on Kara, because she's just in the noise level here. Over.
Mintaka should
Both
make it
operating,
out.
Patricia, the boat you were asking after is now moored in Minerva. Over.
Oh, very good news. Thank you very much, Kara. That's superb news. Yep, it was just on the border of the reef position on the Wikipedia or wherever David looked, and couldn't work out whether they were just outside or just inside. So thank you very much, Kara. Superb. That's good. All right. I just want to see if we've got a good copy with Rusula, Gulf Harbour.
Hello, Gulf Harbour. This is Ursula. We're in Marston Cove. How do you copy?
Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with your radio. Yep, excellent radio. So, yep, all's good to go. Over.
Yeah, I got a reasonably good copy on you, and I can hear Second Sun up by where they are, and most of the other folks. So I suppose it's the mountain interference between us or something. But we're here in Marston. We're planning on checking out tomorrow. We're expecting a fairly good passage, although we know that we'll be headed on Tuesday. And at that point, I think what we're going to do is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, we're going to hope to and take a nap. then wait for the west wind to fill in, and then continue on to Minerva Reef, and then to Fiji after that.
Okay, yep, sounds a good plan. For those people that are not like me and can't stand sitting around. But David is good with that one. So, yep, I think you've got his email anyway. This is Rusula we're talking to in Marsden. And I'm amazed that you can copy me because it is quite close. Well, it's just outside of the skip area, really. And I've got you because of the Kaio antenna. But, yep. All is good with that, and you'll be on your way to Marsden. I'm just going to pass the microphone.
On the way to Marsden.
Sorry, did I say on the way to Marsden? They are at Marsden. Here's the microphone.
Anyway, yeah, I'm surprised that we are getting you so well. So, tell me, when are you leaving? Over.
Okay, Mr. Hang on. Go ahead.
All right.
Who's that? I don't know. Okay. David had a question, but you're clear. So, is there anybody else to make contact with Gulf Harbour Radio? I have still not got copy on Cape Providence, and their AIS seems to have gone down. And Intrinsic is not on frequency. Is there anybody else wanting to make contact? Please call.
Good evening, this is one from Cape Providence. So we're listening in, and we're doing fine.
Oh, Cape Providence. Oh, that's good. Could you give me, there was another person in behind there. I'll get back to you. Cape Providence, could you give me your current position, please? Because it's very slow on the AIS. Over.
Sure thing. So we're south 40, 25, and east 179, 43. Over.
Okay, it's Cape Providence on their way east, 4025 17943. Speed and course and conditions down there in the what I hope it's not too roaring 40s. Over.
We're travelling at 6 knots. We've got our wind vane up, and we're sailing due north. Over.
Okay, on a north course at 6 knots with the wind vane. Well, that's good. And what are the sea and wind conditions? Over.
12 to 15 knots the wind, and it's a bit of a lazy swell here. But a beautiful evening.
What direction is the wind? Well, this is slow getting information from you. 12 to 15, what direction? But it does sound like a beautiful evening down there. Over.
Yes, it is. We're travelling north, and it's a beautiful evening, and we've got a lovely day as well. It's just popped a little tuna on board, so we're going to have that to see. Over.
Oh, little tuna. And the wind is 12 to 15. What direction? Over.
The wind is northwest direction. Over.
Northwest. Yeah, we haven't taken too much notice of what's going on down in that part of the world. You're the only one that's heading in that direction. Yeah, well, it sounds very pleasant. Certainly it brings back memories from when we did your trip. Okay, sounds good. And I take it all is well on board if you've been managing to catch a tuna. And by the way, how are you having it raw or grilled, or what are you doing with the tuna? Over.
It's going to be pan-fried this evening, but I guess we've got so much of it, we'll do all sorts of things on the way with it. Over.
Yeah, that is one of the difficulties of tuna, isn't it? That you do get a lot. They're a real solid fish. Okay, that's good. All right, well, good to make contact with you, and hello to Johans as well. Okay, there was a boat in behind Cape Providence. Who was that?
Gulf Harbour, this is Westmark. I had a copy.
Oh, I've got good copy on you guys, and as usual, and I see you're settled into Minerva along. There's going to be a big party there by the look of it. Over.
Negative. We are en route towards the entrance now. Last night we got tired of the banging and the winds That's too great. So we hope to. We all got a good rest, and yeah. So we're kind of on our way now for an entrance in the morning. I don't think I caught the weather happener currently over.
Okay, well, Mintaka reported the current conditions. Well, in fact, it has been 30 to 35 knots northeast all day. They woke up to 30s. It abates, then it returns. There hasn't been much rain, not much in the way of, well, the showers have just been coming and going. And I believe he said that at the moment, it was still in the 30 range. I'm going to pass the microphone to see what David's looking at.
I'm looking at tomorrow morning. I believe that's when you said you were going to make good the pass at around 8 a.m. That's a good time to go through a pass. Anyway, catch fish. Winds, looks like easterly to me. Easterly winds, 20 to 25 knots. So you'll be right into it, but I'm sure you'll be motoring. I hope you'll be motoring. And from the standpoint of rain, there's a very good chance of precipitation. Unfortunately, satellite imagery doesn't look forward. It's only what it is now. So we have to wait and see. But looking at the models for precipitation projection, I do see fairly light showers they're calling off early in the morning, about 2 millimeters per hour, that neighborhood. However, I'm looking at the cloud projections for tomorrow, and a fair number of buildups around the Minerva area in the morning as well. And if one of those happens to be over you, then you'll be looking at gusts to 30 and maybe even higher than that. But anyway, the mean wind again looks easterly at that point in time. Over.
Okay, thanks very much for that. Our position is at the moment 2411 south and 17900 west. Our course is running 010 true, speed over ground 7 knots. Currently the wind is 17 knots from the east northeast. Speeds are quite nice, only 2 meters coming from the northeast.
Okay.
All right, great. Patricia's got all of that, and I'm glad that you've chosen to get into Minerva in the morning. That's good, and I'll tell you, the passage from Minerva to Tonga at the moment is absolutely miserable. I am looking at, this is satellite imagery I'm looking at now, very, very large cloud clusters, cumulonimbus cloud clusters, and very, very cold temperatures. So the squalls would be quite severe. I wouldn't be surprised that there would be 40 knots or more in those squalls. So anyway, good place to be, Minerva. Over.
Okay, I'm just wondering where we'll clear with Whistler X, where Master Plan is. Master Plan, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, this is Master Plan, please.
Oh, good copy from you. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, we are en route to Minerva as well. Probably just a little bit ahead of Whistler X, about 15 or so nautical miles to South Minerva. We are planning to go on this evening, go to North Minerva and go through into further north in the morning. Our current position, 24 degrees 09 south, 179 degrees 25 west. Our course over ground 010, and we're making about 3 knots. The wind, we're measuring 21 knots, east-northeast, with a swell of about 2.5 meters from the east. It's completely overcast here. Yeah, we haven't seen the sun all day. Over.
How much rain?
And how much rain have you had down there?
We've had a number of showers. We've steered around a few of the schools, but it's been off and on the whole day.
What's the wind speed in the squalls?
Yeah, when you if you don't manage to get around a squall, you're in it. What's the wind speed in the squall? Over.
We've been getting 28 to 30 knots. Over.
Okay, thank you for that. We have master plan. Actually, it's great you people have all dealt with this weather system so well. 2409 south, 17925 west on a course of 010 at 3 knots, 21 from the east northeast, 2.5 metre swell from the east, overcast. They've had a number of showers during the day and been working their way around squalls, but in them you're getting up to 28 knots, and they're now about 15 miles to the south from South Minerva, and will make their way to North Minerva overnight and join the group in North Minerva. It's going to be a spectacular screenshot tomorrow, that's for sure. So I do hope everyone puts their AIS on. Okay, thanks Dean. Sounds like everything is calming down. Well, not exactly calming down, but it's certainly being dealt with rather well. Over.
Patricia, can you confirm that you cannot see us on AIS? Over.
Oh yes, I can see. I haven't got. Hang on a minute. I'm going to. No, I didn't say that. I wanted the boats that are in Minerva that are, and you're definitely on the AIS, that have not got their AIS on, to put it on, because it's such a spectacular shot. And no, you're definitely on the AIS, although it is a little bit slow. It's got you 3 hours 56 minutes behind at the moment, but it just depends on when the satellites pass. But no, you are definitely there. But what I was asking was just for everybody to have their AIS on who is anchored in Minerva, to because it's such a spectacular group. Over.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. And did I hear correctly, David saying that 8 a.m. tomorrow was sounded like a good time to enter the port, being low tide? Over.
No, you didn't mention the tide. You talked about the weather.
Oh, I didn't mention anything about tide. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. With that amount of wind, that water is going to be pouring out of the pass. So I don't think it's going to matter one way or the other on tide for your short passage through there. That's a very short passage. Just keep your eyes open, that's for sure.
The rain might affect visibility.
Yeah. Patricia just mentioned that if you do happen to have a squall where visibility is down considerably, do not rely on your chart plotter. Wait until you've got eyeballs as you go through the pass. Number of boats, we've been doing this for years, and we've been in Minerva a number of times ourselves. But anyway, there's the bones of a number of yachts that have chosen to not do what I said. So anyway, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So good luck in that, and we'll look forward to talking to you when you do get in tomorrow. Over.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Does anybody want to do a radio check? I think there's a couple of boats leaving tomorrow, along with Craig and Dawn on Rusula. Is there anybody else? No, that's it. I wish you all a pretty good night. It sounds as if it is better than last night, although it can certainly have room for improvement. So we'll talk to you again tomorrow. This is Gulf Harbour Radio. If anyone wants to make contact by email, please put your name, boat name, in the subject line, and it's ghradio@extra.co.nz. Cheers everybody, have a good night, and if anyone wants the frequency, it's yours.
Good job, Trish. Good evening.
Good evening to Fiji.
Yeah, this is Bolton Harding, still held up here for a bit longer, but good coffee on everybody. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks Barney, and I think somebody might have replied to you, or it might be somebody wanting the frequency. Anyway, we're clear.
Okay, I-10, are you on board? Hello, this is Mackay. Mackay. What great coffee on you. How many miles out are you? Break 1 second. Hey, Lula, let's move up to the other one. Yeah, let's go to 829.